Good morning, everybody. Today we are chatting with Zach Andersen, who's a senior industry expert from TransUnion. Zach, welcome to the Tech Matchmaker podcast.
Hey, Gina, glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Let's start it off. Zach, talk to us about the basics. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So my name's Zach Andersen. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. I serve as one of TransUnion's industry experts. This May actually represents my seventh year with the company, and I actually joined TransUnion technically through an acquisition of a company they made called Neustar about 5 years ago. And throughout my entire time here at TransUnion, I've been involved in our healthcare team, helping to support providers across, hospitals, pharmacies, specialty care organizations, and many others really to really help them to connect with more patients in more effective ways.
Excellent. I always like to ask our guests too, Zach, tell us a little bit about something about yourself that we won't find on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love to travel. I've actually been to over 20 different countries. Just recently got back from a trip a few weeks ago visiting Egypt, where I got to explore the pyramids in Giza and visit several temples throughout the Nile River and things like that. So I absolutely love to travel and always look forward to my next adventure.
That's fascinating. Where is the next adventure? Is it planned?
Not planned yet, but there's being a few ideas that are being tossed around.
Excellent. Why don't you go ahead and give us your TransUnion elevator pitch?
Yeah, of course. So TransUnion obviously is very well known as a credit bureau. What many people don't know is that being a credit bureau really only scratches the surface of who we are. It often surprises people just how much we do and the areas that we're involved with. So for years, TransUnion has actually been a leader in the identity data, verification, fraud prevention, and communication space. And in my world specifically, where I spend most of my time, it focuses more on the data and the communication side. Where being in healthcare, I get to partner directly with providers to help them connect with their patients in faster, more reliable ways. And looking at some of the data communications, right, when specifically focusing on the data, we like to help make sure that providers have the most up to date contact information associated to an individual, helping them to fill in any gaps of information where it might be missing or it might be incorrect, and then look at providing them unique insights associated to that data so that they can really effectively utilize the information that they have on an individual. And then,
And I know
go ahead, Dana.
No, I was gonna say, I know you mentioned healthcare, you've mentioned it a couple of times, but really this is not industry specific, right? Like you can TransUnion works across all industries, right? All
Absolutely.
verticals?
Yes. We work across financial services. We work across travel and hospitality, tenant and employment. Every industry TransUnion is involved in can actively support.
What do you think TransUnion what makes your approach different than the rest of the solutions that are out there? Kinda like, what's your secret sauce? And I think you were starting to go down that path of in the healthcare, and go ahead and use that as an example because it is a great one.
Yeah. I would say what really separates TransUnion from the rest is the different pieces that we can help assist companies, right? And thinking about healthcare, it can really start from the beginning of a patient journey all the way to the end, right? Our tools assist in their outreach when they make phone call attempts with services like branded call display that can help a provider to reach a patient in fewer dial attempts, making sure that the patient, when they receive a call, they can recognize it's their health provider calling. They can actually deliver a fully customized name and logo associated to a phone call because it helps eliminate that issue or that hesitation that happens when someone sees a random phone number pop up on their screen. I know for me, I always go through that. And especially if a call is being labeled as spam, that call is pretty much never going to get answered. So we can help assist with their outreach there. And then when looking at some of the data pieces, this goes hand in hand. It's very complementary to the communication side where if a business, if they have the wrong information associated to someone or their information is out of date, there's a typo, right? They can't reach that person, even if they've got some of these branding capabilities in place. So being able to work with businesses to not only make sure that they have the most up to date contact information, but being able to allow them to utilize it effectively and allow for their patients to understand it's their business or their provider reaching out to them. That combination really excels in seeing lifts of answer rates, of seeing lifts in downstream metrics like conversions and things like that.
And it's funny because the whole answer rate, and I think the last stat I saw was like 80% of calls go unanswered or something like that, right? And is the combination of what you just described, is that what you call your phone business intelligence? Like, is that how you help businesses break through that noise?
Yeah, so that
It's
they all kind of fall under what we call our True Contact or Trusted Call Solutions suite. They range from the branded calling solutions to looking at the consumer data, providing unique insights onto best time to call, right? So we can utilize or analyze outbound call traffic on specific phone numbers in place, because what many people don't know as well is TransUnion also powers the CNAM database for the US. So there's a lot of historical uh, I would say, work that TransUnion has done in the communication space. And we've developed relationships with over 850 carriers in the US, which is hard to believe there is that many, but there truly is. Yeah, so the combination of looking at the communications solutions, looking at insights to help businesses be able to understand, which phone number to use if they've got a mobile or a landline, which one to prioritize based off the usage there. And then the same for email addresses and physical mailing addresses, right? If they send like an in-home test kit, or if they're sending out over a time-sensitive medication, and we want to make sure that the addresses and emails that they have are actually in use and still associated to that person. So the combination there really helps put that business in a strong place to serve the patients and just improve the overall level of care that they can provide.
And I know we've talked a lot about the phone so far, but the same would apply to email, right? Like you guys also have I'm not sure, is it email behavior intelligence or something like that? Where you help clean the emails because people have changed their emails at a very frequent base. And so can you talk to us a little bit about how you help with the omni-channel side?
Yeah, absolutely. So when looking at an email address, you're exactly right. Emails change all the time. I know myself, I probably had 5 or 6 emails throughout my life. We're always updating emails and things like that. So looking at a specific email, we can provide what we call, linkage scores. So we first want to make sure that that email is directly associated to that individual. Then we like to look at when the email was first seen out in the ecosystem. How long has that email been around? And then we can look at the activity associated to the email. Has that email seen a lot of use over the past 2 months, over the past 6 months? Because we want to let businesses know that this email is actually still in use. It's being used so that they don't waste their outreach attempts on them. Now, if we see that the email address that someone has on file doesn't meet those high levels of activity or has a low linkage score, we can provide them with alternative emails that we see are highly active and highly associated to that individual, so that they have an alternative form that they can reach out to. They don't just have to say, "Oh, I can't reach this person via email."
Perfect. And talk a little bit about the implementation journey. What does that look like? So when somebody says, "Yeah, okay, Zach, we are good to go. We want to, make sure we have branded calling and help improve our answer rates." What does that look like? And then how quickly can they start seeing results?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the branded calling piece, there's a couple of different levels there. There's what we call name branded call display that allows for you all to deliver 32 characters across all the mobile devices of the major carriers. I think it's something like over 285 million devices. To get up and running with that, it's extremely easy. There's really no integration or no lift required from the end user. That's because our direct relations with the carriers, they can automatically start delivering that logo to that, to your patient's or your consumer's device without them having to do anything. And from the business side, the only thing that TransUnion really needs is to understand understand your outbound phone numbers and what essentially you want displayed. So there'd be a couple different fields. There would be a 15 character landline field, and then there would be a 32 character mobile field, and that's pretty much it, right? And you could be up and running really within 2 weeks with the name branded call display service. Now,
And
go ahead.
yeah, so Nori, I was just gonna say, and then for seeing results, what does that look like?
Yeah. So you can start seeing results as pretty much as soon as you make that first call, right? So you'll be able to track, downstream metrics like answer rate improvements. You'll be able to see call duration improvements. You'll be able to track and see how many times you're successfully delivering that name on a mobile device. And right, it's as soon as we get your phone numbers and that your customized portal is created, you can really start seeing benefits as soon as you make that first call. It's a very easy product to get started with.
And what's next for TransUnion? Like, does AI play into any of your offerings or anything like that? I mean, it's everything in the contact center space is, AI. How is it impacting it? Is there anything in the future that's impacting how you guys deliver your services or anything new that you're coming out with?
Yep. So we are always looking for ways to improve the experience of a phone call, and then also looking at ways to help businesses when they receive phone calls as well from patients and things like that. So I know on the outbound side, some of the things that we're looking forward to is the advancements in our logo display, being able to add customized call reasons specific to every single call, being able to add links and the links is something that really excites me because it could directly in your missed call window, you could click on a link to schedule an appointment or to be directed specifically to a section of the website that is specifically related to a need that you have. So there's a lot of advancements coming there. I know additionally how much the texting world has exploded here. We've been actively working on delivering a rich text so that when you receive a text from a business, you'll be able to see a logo as well. And then on the inbound side, right, TransUnion made an acquisition of a company called Trusted a few years ago as well. And something that we've been actually working and developing is ways to help businesses identify that an inbound caller is a legitimate caller. A lot of contact centers are getting plagued with calls coming from robocalls or even the spam calls, same things that patients are dealing with. So we've been working with them on how can they associate an inbound number directly to a patient and how we can look at specific insights of an actual call coming into the contact center to identify if it's coming from a real device, if it's coming from a spoof device, or if it's coming from a legitimate patient, so they can handle that call more efficiently.
That's wonderful. Can you share a success story with us, Zach? I know we have a mutual customer of you, and we will be having you back to have that joint conversation with them. But do you want to share one of your success stories from your existing customer base?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll share one that was actually just happened pretty recently. Being in the healthcare world, right? I mentioned we work with a lot of hospital systems, and one of our regional hospitals that we work with, they reached out with a pretty alarming issue, right? They had seen reports that several of their phone numbers had been spoofed, and these numbers were being spoofed. And what the bad actors or spoofers were doing is they were trying to, pretend to be that hospital to get patient information. It's our working theory that they may be phishing to try to break into the bank accounts of the local branches or things like that. Some type of financial fraud is what we're thinking of. Thankfully, a few of the patients trusted their instincts to recognize the suspicion around the call. They hung up immediately and called into the hospital system, and they discovered, yeah, that was a fake call. That wasn't a call that was initiated even by them, but it was still somehow utilized their numbers. So that's when we were able to immediately start working with that hospital system on a newer service that we've deployed, which is called Spoof Call Protection. Essentially, that eliminates anybody from being able to utilize your phone numbers from outside of your own platform, right? The calls have to originate directly from the devices tied or phones tied to that contact center platform. No bad actors would be able to utilize or start pretending to be that. So we were able to help eliminate that issue, which was a huge step forward in improving the overall trust and helping to restore the brand of that hospital. And then, after that initial problem was solved, we looked at implementing the branded call display. So not only could they protect, their patients from, receiving spam calls or spoof calls, they were able to start, delivering that name, improving answer rates and just helping to restore that overall trust in the phone channels so that those individuals could see that their health provider was calling.
That's fantastic. Yeah, the spoofers and the bad actors seem to be getting smarter and smarter, don't they?
They do. Yeah, they always find ways around it, but the spoof call protection has proven to be pretty successful.
And just as we wrap up here, Zach, is there anything you would like the audience to know that I haven't asked you?
Yeah, of course. I do want to make sure that everyone in the audience knows that these solutions they're not specifically related to healthcare. That's just what I work with in my day to day. Those are the use cases that I'm most familiar with. These services and these solutions are providing benefits to every single type of business across the United States, and they are actively being used today and seeing your different benefits and different improvement metrics that are directly correlate with those specific areas of the business.
Awesome. And I've always been a fan of James Lipton, Zach. So to end the podcast, let's do a few rapid fire.
All right.
What noise or sound do you love?
What noise or sound do I love? I guess I would love to hear the crowd cheering. I'm a big sports fan, so hearing a crowd cheer, even if it's for the other team, it's always cool to hear, right? It means something exciting is happening, or there's a new game changing play occurring. So I would say, yeah, crowd noise is something that I love to hear.
Excellent. And what noise or sound do you hate?
Car horns. I absolutely hate to hear a car horn. That's usually the complete opposite of hearing a crowd cheer. It's never usually a good thing when you hear a car horn going off. So I would have to say it's a car horn.
I love it. And what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I have been recently really getting into pickleball. I would, love to explore to be a pickleball player. It's something I, didn't think I would love, but I've somehow caught the itch of pickleball, and I think that would be something very cool to explore to see if I could compete with some of the best.
Excellent. And Zach, if somebody wants more information on TransUnion solutions, who should they call?
Yeah, I would say definitely reach out to Gina. She's got great connections here. Can always connect with myself as well. So I would definitely say reach out to Gina, and then she can help point you in the right direction.
Perfect. Zach, thanks so much for your time today and for sharing everything about TransUnion. We really appreciate it and look forward to chatting again soon.
Yep. Thanks so much, Gina. I appreciate it.